Yesterday, I have almost caught my breath. The last corner, the last lap, the two white WeatherTech Ferraris. The one on the high side is Cooper McNeil and waves at his dad as he drives by to the start-finish line and the win of yesterday's race. A tremendous race as far as Cooper McNeil did not set a toe. The car, the driving was nothing short of perfect. As far as the balance of the field, well, there were lots of other Ferraris out there, nearly 40 in total. As far as the end of the day, the way everybody lined up, it was Cooper right on the top step of the podium. Peter Ludwig, of course, will finish in second place and take home those points. James Weiland, a great drive, and it finished up on the podium yesterday as well. The other classes of cars, we've got the Trofeo Pirelli AM class cars. Alfred Kiola did a great job and took home the most points. Then David Musial, Robert Hodes did a tremendous, really nice job behind the wheel of the car yesterday as well. The next class, we've got Trofeo Pirelli, we've got Coppichelle. The Coppichelle class yesterday won by Michael Fassbender. Right behind him, Mark Carroll and Brian Kaminsky did a very nice job as well and took home another one of the trophies and sprayed a little champagne around yesterday afternoon as well. The final of the classes, Trofeo Pirelli AM, the least experienced of the drivers, but still nobody set a foot wrong all day yesterday. Nobody bent a car. It was really a tremendous drive as far as John McGrew is concerned. The most number of points means he was on the top step. All right, and already off the... Oh, what a terrible way to start it Saturday. We've had an incident on the race course, which is sadly the Paradise Arroyo number 190 machine has had a little incident on the race course, slid off the racetrack, come in contact with something a little more solid than the left front corner of a Ferrari 488. And as far as the weather forecast is concerned, slowly but surely the weather has warmed up a little bit. It's a couple degrees warmer than it was this time yesterday. However, with that comes the slightest chance of precipitation. Not necessarily this afternoon, certainly not this morning. Maybe later on tonight, it could make the sports car race, the 24-hour race, a little bit interesting before that checkered flag flies tomorrow afternoon, about 20 minutes before 3 o'clock. The starting grid for today's race. We will, as you'll notice, divide the cars up into the four different classes we have. The Trofeo Pirelli class cars led by Cooper McNeil, yesterday's race winner. Everybody else lines up as far as the speeds they set on the racetrack. Peter Ludwig will line up beside him in row number 1. James Weiland will be in the third spot. Joseph Rubo almost got up to the podium yesterday, 4th place, and that's where he'll start today. We also have a veteran in that crowd as well, Jean-Claude Soda. Not a surprise up near the top of the grid. The next of the groups, as we run down the list a little bit further, we've got the 64 of Naven Rayo. Chris Canazzi is in the hunt once again today. Ben Hides, we've got Mark Musso from up in Canada. And Court Wagner surprisingly finished a little bit further down in the field, and it'll be interesting. He'll be climbing his way back up as this race gets underway. The next row of the field, the next group of the field, the Trofeo Pirelli AM class, the more amateur of the drivers, led by Robert Hodes, John Boyd. We also have the Dave Musial number 30 car in this lineup as well. And going down the list a little bit further, we get to the Coppichelle class cars with Brian Kaminsky. Brian will drive the number 171 car in the field, starting in row number 14 of the grid. A little bit further back as far as the times on the racetrack yesterday. Mark Fuller's 142, the 107 car. Chris Carroll with a nice drive yesterday too. And as we've already seen, the gentleman who was to have his car on the inside of the 16th row, that's Oscar Paradis Arroyo. I'm afraid that car's not going to go too very far during this particular race, and it's going to be led by the Palermo number 113 machine as far as the 32nd and back field. The next of the groups of the field, this is the Coppichelle AM class cars. This one being led by Tom Tipper. Tom Tipper and John McGrew really had a great fight yesterday. Unfortunately, it was Tom that got the top step of the podium, and I can imagine that John and the Ferrari of Long Island machine will be trying to return the favor today. Back along pit road, the cars all lined up side by side. The driver is out of the 190 car, the 190 machine. Sadly, we'll be taken out of harm's way before we get things too far underway today. We may be delayed by a moment or two to make this happen, because among other things, the one thing with this particular race series, very few of these drivers are even close to being termed professional race car drivers. There's a lot of people who do this honestly do it for fun. They do it for the joy of the machine. They do it to visit the best racetracks in the entire world. And from time to time, a mistake is made out on the race course. But the one thing the people with the Ferrari Challenge have done from day one, every time there's a drivers' meeting, number one on the list of concerns is safety. Safety is what it's all about. The cars are perhaps slightly modified from the ones that you could buy in your local Ferrari dealership. The front bodywork is different to add a little bit of downforce. Now this downforce would be a nice advantage to have on the street as well. But on the other hand, getting up the curb to the Walmart store could be a bit of a challenge if it was as low as the race cars are. The race car is a little bit different. As you notice on the outside, the interior view, there are roll cages in the cars. Safety. There are fire control systems in the cars. Safety. In 3 seconds. That's all it takes. 1, 2, 3, and you're at highway speeds. And these cars are capable of an excess of 200 miles an hour. They won't get to quite 200 miles an hour. The longest piece of the racetrack, there's a 3,000-foot-long backstretch here at Daytona Beach. They put a little bus stop, a little chicane into it just to make it interesting for the sports car drivers. The sports car drivers insist on turning right as well as left. So there is a right-hand turn about halfway down that back straightaway. They come into that backstretch, into the bus stop, and you can just see it in the bottom left corner of our screen here. They come around the turn number 2 onto the back straightaway, come through this bus stop. You can see all the tire marks. They're hard on the brakes. They're pressing the cars as quickly through this piece of the racetrack as they dare. They slide the cars from time to time. There's some tire marks on the racetrack as a result, but it makes things interesting. Once they get onto this back straightaway once again, this is where we find out how fast the Ferrari 488s will go. From the exit of this corner, where sometimes the drivers are a little too anxious to get into the throttle, they can spin the back tires. We've seen a number of spins over the past 24 hours. Yesterday's race number 1, a couple spins in that turn number 9 area. The cars get a little bit loose and get away from the drivers. But in all cases yesterday, with the incident during warm-up, this was our first, unless I'm mistaken, this was the first incident we've had on the racetrack. We've had a number of cars spin in the opening lap yesterday morning in turn number 5 in the first of the very, very tight right-hand corners on the International Horseshoe area. We had a car spin completely around, did a 180 and literally stopped facing the line of traffic coming his way at 100 miles an hour. This is the tight piece of the racetrack I'm talking about. The cars come down here and at speed make a 180-degree turn. I'm guessing in the neighborhood of 90, 100, 110 miles an hour. That's how sticky these cars are. That's how well they go around corners. They're fast in a straight line. They'll go around corners. They stop. And one of the highlights of the racing over the course of our 45-minute contest this morning is, if you do have the opportunity, our camera crew in Daytona is doing a tremendous job for us. Oh, hats off, by the way, pat on the back. Ladies and gentlemen, as is always the case, you can watch the brakes light up. They get so hot they glow red. And once again, we're about to get things underway. All right, the cars are being wound up. Race controller said, okay, tell them to start the engines. And as soon as they start the engines, some of the drivers, Cooper McNeil in the 63 car starts to roll. He says, hey, the engine's running. I'm in a race car. I'm not supposed to be standing still. The people out front say, no, we're going to make sure everybody starts. Make sure that everything is going to be 100%. David McNeil, his father, a little bit further back in the field. In today's order, I have a feeling we have in excess of 40 cars. I think there's 41. David's going to start near the back of the field. Cooper, his son, is going to start on the pole. He won the race yesterday. Now, things are going to get interesting. With Cooper McNeil, of course, David, his father, and the family business is called, in case you haven't noticed, WeatherTech, a big sponsor of the Rolex 24 at Daytona. The race gets underway after 2:30 this afternoon. And among other things, WeatherTech is a huge sponsor of motor racing and a tremendous sponsor of sports car racing. And we've got to tip our hats and urge everybody, given the opportunity, if you're looking for something to make sure that your vehicle lasts as long and looks as good as it possibly can be, look for WeatherTech the next time you're shopping for bits and pieces for your vehicle. The Rolex 24 is coming up later on this afternoon, but first, we're going to bring everybody up to race speed with Ferrari Challenge race number 2. Cooper MacNeil trying to get some heat in the Pirellis, trying to make sure that when he goes around the tight corners of this racetrack that the car sticks as well as it possibly can, and he can open up the same kind of gap that he opened up over. It was Peter Ludwig and actually James Wieland. James Wieland yesterday in the Wild World Ferrari. James in his boardwalk machine, the number 18 car, really kept in very, very close proximity. He was about 2-3 car lengths away through about the first 2/3 of the race. Perhaps a little misfortune on the race course. The car got away from the pretty silver and red machine is James Wieland's. That boardwalk Ferrari is one of the prettier cars. Of course, there's some Ferrari red on that machine. In yesterday's action, probably it has nothing to do with how fast the cars are, but it's an interesting coincidence. There are 4 different classes of Ferraris on the race course. Of the 4 classes, there are 4 different classes of Ferraris on the race course. Of the 4 classes, the winning car in 3 of them were white. I have no idea why. However, as far as Ferraris, as I think everybody that's ever watched Formula One racing, as they know that the Italian racing color is, well, if it isn't literally, it should be Ferrari red, because Ferraris are meant to be that color. The Ferraris that are going to be in the Rolex machine, the Rolex contest a little bit later on today. There's some red Ferraris up there too to uphold the family honors. And there's one that's what Ferrari red looks like. There's a little stars and stripes, white and blue in it as well. But hey, red, white, and blue sure looks good. Lance Colley for the Ferrari of Atlanta representative drives a 176 car. But the cars are just as fast, just as potent as they ever have been. And to be really honest, we're about to go car racing. The lights are off on the pace car. The Ferrari 488 machine is going to peel out of the way. The beautiful black machine with the Hublot logo on it. And we're going to go racing at Daytona. The world center of speed is up to action once again, and the green flag flies on the start-finish line, and here they come. Now, as you notice, there are separate groups of cars, 4 different classes. They've separated the cars a little bit, so at least in the initial going, people of the same driving talent, the same caliber of skill, will only have to deal with each other, and they won't have to deal with the driving talent, the same caliber of skill, will only have to deal with each other, and they won't have to deal with passing back markers, people that aren't quite as quick right away. We're going to make sure the cars are up to speed. The drivers are at full temperature as well. Slowly but surely, once again, the 63 machine of Cooper MacNeil takes the lead and isn't walking away from anybody. All of the cars are identical. The difference from A to B is quite literally driving skill is almost the only differential between all of these machines. Cooper MacNeil has been fine-tuning his driving skill with the Ferrari Challenge and about 5 other race series over the past 2 years, and all of that practice, all of that patience, and to be really honest, all of the time and energy invested has been paying big dividends. Cooper looked untouchable yesterday. Now, untouchable, he's 2 car lengths away from untouchable as it stands right now. Up into NASCAR turn number 1 on the oval. This particular racetrack was thought about back in the early 50s, 53. It cost you time. It's getting the car and getting the car sorted once again that cost you money. And one of the cars which was involved in that incident is the 113, and this may have been the cause of the incident why everybody went off the racetrack back at the horseshoe a moment ago. The 113 car. He's got a flat tire now. Now, where did this tire go flat? Coming up to the bus stop once again. The 113 car slows, and the tire went down before he got to the bus stop. Now, as he slows the car, he drives to the inside, tries to give everybody as much room as he possibly can, but the car is only running on 3 solid tires and may have collected the Fassbender machine as Michael Fassbender went by. The 113 car in long pit lane. The crew's going to give it a look-see, going to change the right front corner. Among other things, well, we've been talking about the color schemes of the cars, and This is the non-traditional, the modern matte brown color. I'm not sure whether everybody is a big fan of the matte paint schemes, but hey, they're coming into car racing just as quick as they are to city streets as well. And the battle for first isn't over by any stretch. Peter Ludwig hard on the back bumper, coming up fast on the race-leading Cooper McNeil number 63 car. Now he came up real close. He got really up close and personal there, and this time by through the tight pieces of the racetrack. There may be a lesson learned. Peter Ludwig basically says, okay, I'll let you drive really tight. You're going to use up a little bit of real estate, trying to hold the car down to a speed that's going to be comfortable when you're that tight to the corner. I'm going to leave my car a little bit closer to the center of the racing line, try to carry a little bit more, and like you did the last time I tried to go by, I'm going to try to have more speed at the exit of the corner and return the favor. And Cooper McNeil is using all of the racetrack, using all of the curbing, and playing catch. He slides the car through the corner, gets up on the curbing, it gets a little bit looser. It's an exciting race to watch. I'm not sure whether Cooper McNeil or Peter Ludwig is having a better time as an up close and personal participant in it. But it's sure fun to watch from our perspective. Cooper McNeil basically is doing everything he possibly can to put in the fastest laps he can as well. His best qualifying time was a 1:46, just to give you a mathematical idea. 1:46.9, I believe, was his qualifying time back on Thursday. During yesterday's race, he turned to 1:47.1. And we'll run down the list a little bit further. Peter Ludwig's qualifying time was a 1:47.5. Yesterday in the race, he was even faster. Slowly but surely over the course of the race weekend and during the race, in spite of the fact that there's some distractions, other cars in the race course trying to get by people, including this time by once again. He drives to the inside, a lead change. Peter Ludwig drives down the inside into corner number 4. Hard on the brakes into the twistier piece of the racetrack, and you see the car wiggle a little bit. It is very, very, very pressed to slow down from that very high speed up on the banking. Cooper McNeil all over the back bumper is basically saying, fine, I'll let you lead, and I'm going to be all over your back bumper. You're going to see me in your mirrors if you want some distraction. Oh, by the way, here I am. He's going to be right there. Now, whether or not Peter Ludwig can open up any kind of a gap, or whether Cooper McNeil can return the favor, we'll have to wait and see. And actually, as it stands through the twistier bits, Peter Ludwig is hard on it. He's opened up a little bit more. Going back down a class or two, once again, we'll catch up to the number 9 machine, Alfred Chiello. Alfred actually started the race in the Trofeo Pirelli AM class in 6th place as a result of his race times yesterday. But from 6th place, he slowly but surely moved up to 1st place overall. He's got still a 2-second lead over the 51 car of Robert Hodes. Robert actually started on the pole for this particular class at the beginning of the contest. The race leaders once again on the back straightaway, and as far as the Peter Ludwig machine, Peter's done a pretty fair job. He's got a couple of car length lead coming into the bus stop once again. Uses all of the real estate, uses a little bit of the curbing as well to straighten out the curve as much as he can, carry as much speed, and slowly but surely it's paying dividends as he's opened up a bit of a gap. Peter's of course got his mirrors full of the 63 pole sitting car. Whether Cooper McNeil is going to be comfortable back there or whether he's going to try to chase him down right away. As it stands right now, we still have more than 17 minutes on the clock. These are 45-minute races in total, and there's slowly but surely we're working on the last third, just around the corner. Another one of our class leaders we haven't had the opportunity to take too very much of a look at. Congratulations, Mark Fuller. Brian Kaminsky, the class winner yesterday. The 171 car started on the pole during the race today. Mark Fuller has overhauled him, and the difference between those two cars, as I mentioned, is almost as small as the difference between the first and second overall class cars. Overall class leader right now, we've got about 3 car length lead coming through the twistier pieces of the race course. This is the International Horseshoe. A slight swerve to the left and a tight right-hand corner in the midst of this particular piece of the road course, and this is the tightest corner on the circuit as well. I believe that's corner number 5. Up to turn number 6, a relatively shallow, flat left-hand corner. The left-hand corner, though, leads up onto the banking once again, the 31-degree banking, and we'll find out how fast the 488 Ferraris accelerate at this piece of the racetrack. the only class leader we haven't had the chance to look at, Peter Tipple won the class yesterday with the Ferrari of Beverly Hills number 121 machine. John McGrew did a great job, tried to keep close all race long in the Ferrari of Long Island 123 car. The Katekis, the Dale Katekis number 155 car is now up to second place. He was third yesterday, trying to improve on that. John McGrew, who finished up on the podium yesterday, has a little bit of work to do because as it stands right now, he is seventh in the Copachel AM class. 4 different classes of cars. Generally, these classes of cars are typified by the amount of driving skill, experience the drivers have been telling the race officials about before the season begins. And because of that driving skill, that's usually, it's not carved in stone by any stretch, but that's generally how the cars qualify and finish. The beautiful Ferrari red 155 car, the Dale Katekis, machine is now that is a Ferrari red car, that's for sure. The 155 car, beautifully prepared by Miller Motor Cars. Miller Motor Cars preparing all sorts of racing machines and doing a great job for us in Ferrari Challenge once again. It looks like the Katekis Dale in his number 155 car is in for a good day today. Things are going very well for him, and the last time we looked at the scoring monitor, he had about a 5-second lead over his nearest competitor. Up front, still no big changes. The white with the red trim machine was our second place qualifier. Started in second place, the outside of row number 1. Peter Ludwig gave away the first place into the first corner, held on to that spot, didn't let the race leader get too far away. But slowly but surely, as we got up to the second half of the race today, he picked up the pace, got a little bit closer, caused a little bit more concern, I have a feeling, in the mind of Cooper McNeil, and whether the distraction is what slowed him down, a little bit of a mistake on the race course, or a little bit of daring by Peter Ludwig. The bottom line was Peter drove down to the inside into corner number 1 a couple of laps ago, took over that first place, actually drove around into coming under the start-finish line at the exit of turn number 4, the NASCAR turn number 4, the highest speed piece of the race course, and was able to make the pass stick into turn number 1. Hasn't looked back. Slowly but surely, he's eased out the gap from first to second place. The last time we looked, at one point, the difference from first to second place was less than half a second. It's on the verge of being 1 second right now. When they cross the start-finish line, we'll double-check on it. We'll wait for our timing and scoring monitors to catch up with the racers through NASCAR turn number 4, the 31-degree banking underneath the flag stand. They cross the line, and the order when last we looked was 79 100ths of a second apart. And we are now working on, I believe this is lap number 10. In yesterday's, actually one of the bigger surprises of yesterday's action, we had nearly 40 cars take the green flag for the contest. Today, I'm not sure why, we had 41. Oh, we've got a car that's obviously had some misfortune out on the racetrack. The hood has been wrinkled a little bit, and I'm afraid there's not nearly as much coolant in the car as it needs to, as things are boiling just a little bit. Coolant runs out, a little bit of contact. Now, from the look of it, the car's been in contact with something relatively slowly, or to be really honest, moving at relatively the same speed. And from the look of the damage on the car, he's had some contact with the back bumper of a 488. Somebody slowed down in front of him a little bit faster than he needed, wanted, or could. And the bottom line is he's damaged one of the radiators in the front of the Ferrari, and brought it in along pit lane so the crew can give it a look-see. And if nothing else, hasn't done any more damage to the car. As we watch the jets fly from Daytona Beach Airport just across the way, and the Ferrari's keeping pace with the jets taking off, coming down the back straightaway through the kink once again. This is the bus stop piece of the racetrack, just to break up the 3,000-foot back straightaway at Daytona International Speedway. One of the reasons they call it the world center of speed is because if you want to see how fast a car goes, this is where you put it. Car slow on the racetrack, the number 25 car, the beautiful machine, the 25 machine, which has been running near the front. I believe this may be the 125. To double check on our scoring machine here, it is indeed a 25. And we're not sure where the car was running at one point. It wasn't running in the top 10. Nonetheless, it appears as though we have a car running slowly on the race course, and bringing it back to the pit lane. That's Ross Choast. Ross in the number 25 in the Palm Beach Ferrari. Started near the far end of the Trofeo Pirelli AM class today. Started near 20th spot, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to improve on that the way things are going. Bring it in along pit lane. Perhaps the crew can ascertain what might be wrong with the car, and perhaps remedy the situation and get the pretty blue machine back on the race course for us. Taking a look at the standings once again, the Trofeo Pirelli AM class running down the list. Robert Cho is number 25 car, listed in 7th in class. The last time he crossed the start-finish line, but unfortunately that will disappear as the car comes in along pit lane. The battle up front that we're watching right now, this is the Trofeo Pirelli AM class with the number 9 machine. Still doing a very, very nice job. Alfred Chiola. Alfred started the 9 machine. I believe that's 6th place in the class. Took over first, but hasn't been able to run away. Yesterday's class winner, Robert Hodes, the Ferrari of Washington car, moving from one side to there and say, there has to be a way around. I haven't found it yet. The car's running side by side. Everybody sees in the mirrors that there is a race car there. Everybody giving each other the bare minimum of room. And we have a new race leader. Robert Hodes takes over first place in the Trofeo Pirelli AM class. Going back up into the banking in turn number 1, turn number 2. The car is coming up to speed once again. They'll probably be hitting in the neighborhood of 160, 70 miles an hour. And once again, trying to return the favor, driving by the outside. Alfred Chiola isn't going to be able to do it from the outside of this corner. Perhaps he can carry a little bit of speed through the bus stop. Stays within a car length, but isn't able to do too much as far as eating up that gap. Still a car length between the two cars. They accelerate almost identically out of the race. Turn number 4, the NASCAR turn number 4 around the far side of this race circuit, as memory serves. That's the kind of the northeast corner of the racetrack. And now coming underneath the start-finish line. The banking on the corners here, 31 degrees. The banking at start-finish is 18, perhaps 19 degrees. Not quite as much. However, it allows the cars to maintain very, very high speeds as they come hard on their braking into turn number 1 and perhaps a return. We've got a new race leader as far as that class is concerned. The 9 car goes by in turn number 1. Holds off in the braking just a little bit, and it looked as though the Robert Hodes car was better able to he carried as much speed as he possibly could into the corner, but as he carried all that speed, it was very, very difficult to get the car slowed down to make that turn number 1. And on the inside, the number 51 of Robert Hodes, better control, a little bit more speed at the exit of the corner, and that's where you can really take advantage of a mistake on the racetrack. The one thing about this racing, you probably realized, we have very, very few race drivers with years, decades of experience. From time to time, that changes. The one guy comes to mind, Cord Wagner, in the number 27 car this race weekend, has been driving for centuries. Okay, maybe decades. But on the other hand, a lot of the other drivers here, they're casual drivers, they're weekend race car drivers, they're amateurs. But every single lap they turn with the Ferrari Challenge adds to the experience as we catch up to lead once again in Trofeo Pirelli AM down the back straightaway. This is turning into the best race of the day. The race out front has opened up just a little bit. There's a 2-second gap between Ludwig and Cooper McNeil. This gap in the next fastest of the categories, the Trofeo Pirelli AM class, has turned out to be the best of the bunch. And as far as the difference separation between these two cars when they cross the start-finish line, less than a second. And as it stands, we are less than 8 minutes away from the checkered flag. Let's run down the list and take a look at some of our class leaders. We've already made mention of the people out front. The number 11 machine, Peter Ludwig, has opened up a little bit of a gap, about 2 seconds rather, between himself and Cooper McNeil. Cooper hard pressed to carry out the same kind of pace as Peter Ludwig has. That's the difference right now. 2 seconds, that's what 2 seconds looks like at Daytona International Speedway as they come through corners number 5, 6, 7, and up onto the banking once again. We've got James Weiland in the number 18 car. Joseph Rubos, number 28 car, running in 4th place overall. The Weinberger, number 6. And then Naveen Rayos, number 64 car. The San Diego Ferrari 64 machine in the top half dozen as well. As far as the next class of the field, we've got the Trofeo Pirelli AM class. The people that we've been watching having just a dogfight between the 51 and 9 cars. Alfred Chiola rally on the number 51 car. The 18 car currently runs in 3rd place overall. That's James Weiland. The pretty silver Ferrari is about 8 seconds behind Cooper McNeil. As far as the battle for 2nd place, I'm afraid that's not going to develop into too much unless somebody makes a major mistake. The 28 machine, as we go back through the list a little bit further, is Joseph Rubos, the Ferrari of Long Island. Well represented out here. Another beautiful silver machine. The silver and black, of course, with the Italian tricolor in the front corners, the number 28 car. And right behind him is another one of the better battles on the race cars. The better battle here is for 4th place overall. That's Joel Weinberger, the Ferrari of Long Island representative, and the Continental Autosports, rather. Joseph Rubo is the Long Island machine. Continental supplying the motor power for Joseph Weinberger's number 6. Pretty scenery here at Daytona Beach International Speedway, that's for sure. It's a beautiful place to come to a car race, and of course it's going to be people enjoying the beauty. Lots of people set up for the entire weekend with the motorhomes, the campers, the tents. Hey, this is going to be home for an entire weekend, and for a good number of these people. And we got a car spun out on the racetrack as well. The number 33, one of our front runners. That's the Benjamin Hides collection Ferrari. No harm, no foul. We'll find out how it gets done. He got the car completely turned around on the race cars, hard under braking, trying to make a pass, and he's going to run out of room. Maybe a little bit of a touch. Well, he didn't have any other place to go. He was looking down the inside corner, trying to find a way around whether the car immediately in front of him. Unfortunately, it wasn't going to happen in that particular corner. He got hard on the brakes. The back end of the car got light. Came around on him. He's lost a couple of seconds, but as is always the case, people with the Ferrari Challenge and in this form of motor racing, hey, it's a weekend activity. It's not something they do as a profession. But on the other hand, every time they go out on the race course, as I think everybody has learned as a child, every time you fall down, you learn something. It's a learning experience. All right, we've got lots of colors out on the racetrack, and of course, if you're not going to have a red Ferrari, hey, there's been lots of yellow Ferraris over the years as well. This one is Joel Camp's, and it certainly is a gorgeous car, that's for sure. The James Camp machine from Ferrari of South Bay represented the pretty yellow machine, and it was a couple of years ago when the 458s first came out. The cars arrived to the racetrack, and they were so, well, not late in delivery, but they were so close to the beginning of the race season. A lot of the cars showed up, and the only color on the cars was the number on the sides of them. However, the 488s have been in production for a couple of years now, and among other things, we're getting cars of every color, including pink. We've got every color imaginable out on the race course. White is well represented. We've got yellows, we've got blues, and we've got a beautiful pink machine on the race course as well. This is the number 118. And I'll have to go back. This is Colin Liu. Colin hails from Vancouver up in Canada. And, of course, the pink car, if nothing else, is easily identifiable. If you've got a field of 40 cars and there's one pink one, you're going to be able to spot it pretty quick. From time to time, race car teams do things like that to their cars to make them identifiable. Here at the 24-hour long car race, as I think all of the spectators here at the World Center of Speed will be able to recognize, when the sun goes down, as often as not, they put lights on the side windows and the windows of the cars to differentiate their car from everybody else. Because when a car is going by you at 200 miles an hour at 2 o'clock in the morning, they all look dark. What's the number on the side? I have no idea. But ours has a green light in the back corner of the passenger side. It all works out. Slowly but surely, Peter Ludwig driving a beautiful line around the race course. And if you watch really close, as we get perhaps a little bit further view of things, we can look at him slide the car around through corner number 2. Peter, I would say he's driving a beautiful line around the race course. Sometimes he's driving it sideways, but he's driving a beautiful line around the race course. If there's a fast way to do it, that racing line is the way to get it done. If it means that you've got to squeeze the car, squeeze it a little bit sideways from time to time, but carry as much speed as you possibly can, that's how you win races, and Peter Ludwig has this one in his pocket. Peter Ludwig finished second after yesterday's action. Cooper McNeil had things his own way toward the end of the race. However, over the course of the 45-minute contest, we had the opportunity. I have a feeling that Peter Ludwig had the opportunity to watch Cooper McNeil put a race line in and follow him around the race course from lap after lap and say, okay, is this how it's done? I'm going to learn a little bit. I'm going to try that again tomorrow morning when we get to the racetrack at 9:30 and see whether or not they can pay dividends for me as well. And that is exactly what has happened today. Peter Ludwig has used the learning situation of yesterday to put the 11 car out front, and he hasn't run away with it. Cooper McNeil is still filling the rear view mirrors as the Peter Ludwig car gets held up at the bus stop just a little bit. There's a minute and change left on the clock. He's going to get one more full lap in. I don't think we're going to see a checkered flag this time by, but we won't go 2 more laps without a checkered from the look of things. The racers following some of the people further down the field, the Copa Shell class machines, see the racers coming their way, move to one side. They give basically a hand signal, say, if I'm going to point to the right, that's not the way I'm going to turn. That's the way I want you to go around me. And slowly but surely, as the race leader is held up by some of the people in Copa Shell, Cooper McNeil closes in turn number 1, has to get on the brakes and give a little bit of it back. But those 2 cars, first and second place, are nose to tail. Cooper McNeil drives to the outside into corner number 3. He's going to take the high side of the racetrack. If the race leader is held up by the Copa Shell class car at the exit, Cooper McNeil's going to be able to put down a little bit more power. This might be the lap that Cooper McNeil's been waiting for. A little bit of misfortune by the race leader, and this one could change hands before we see a checkered flag. And according to the clock on my monitor, it's 19 seconds away. This one isn't done by any stretch. Cooper McNeil, and he gets held up by the same Copa Shell class car. Cooper driving from one side to the other. Please pick a side and get out of my way, sir. I'll save you some champagne. I'm going to be up on the podium, but I want the big bottle. All right, once again, the racers get up on the oval. There's only one more twisty piece of racetrack where Cooper McNeil may be able to press the advantage, may be able to slide the car around the corner a little bit to his advantage, but the gap has opened up. It's in the neighborhood of a second now. I think there's a second time. At this speed, that's how far a second is. Coming into the tight bits, once again, there's one of the back markers, one of our Copa Shell class machines. Doesn't hold up the race leader too very much, not as much as Cooper McNeil would like it to. The final lap coming around through the Daytona Beach. That's turn number 4. We got a couple of cars off the racetrack, and one of them is the number 9 machine. Was in the lead for the Trofeo Pirelli AM class. Alfred Keola's come off the racetrack, as is the number 10. Down toward the start-finish line. It's going to be as exciting as yesterday's. The checkered flag flies, and Peter Ludwig is going to be the race leader. Cooper McNeil will finish in second place. Boy, a great battle for first. The last couple of laps yesterday and again today, Cooper managing to catch up to his father in the other of the WeatherTech Ferraris yesterday and pass him in the last corner of the last lap. Today, not quite as big a celebration, but I have a feeling that Cooper's going to be happy to be up on the top, the second step of the podium as well. We'll go down the list and catch up to the other race leaders as well. It's going to be the Hodes number 51 machine, the Ferrari of Washington car, winning a Trofeo Pirelli AM. The number 11 car is about to cross the start-finish line. And this is a class winner as well, the number 142 machine. A little bit further back, that is the Mark Fuller. Mark Fuller is going to win the Copa Shell class. And the 51 machine, that's Robert Hodes, who wins Trofeo Pirelli AM. A nice job. The Ferrari red machine will finish at the top step of the podium as far as that particular class is concerned. The 142 is our class winner. That's Mark Fuller. Started on the outside of his race group. Copa Shell class winner today will be Mark Fuller, Ferrari of Westlake. Should be pretty happy with that result. And right in behind him, the 171, Brian Kaminsky, hot on his heels through the entire 45-minute contest today. Brian Kaminsky won yesterday. He's going to finish second today. No doubt he and Cooper McNeil will have a lot to talk about, both in the top stop of the podium yesterday, and we'll take the second biggest trophy home today. Nonetheless, not a bad way to finish the day. We had more than 40 cars start the contest, and we had a little bit of misfortune off the top, a car sliding wide and doing a little bit of bodywork damage to the 488 to start the race today. Held things up by just a touch. However, all in all, for the most part, a successful, clean, and fun race to watch, as is always the case with Ferrari Challenge. The Ferraris got to come out and do it again. And the 121 car, the Ferrari red machine of Thomas Tibble, Ferrari of Beverly Hills, supplying the motive power for the 121 machine, class leader. A nice drive for Tom. Of course, he was out on the race course and didn't quite win the class yesterday, but was the pole sitter at the beginning of the contest. And again, another day's driving, another lesson learned. The overall race leader, Peter Ludwig, the wide world Ferrari, rolls down pit lane and is slowly but surely making his way down pit lane and trying not to overhaul things too very badly and make sure he goes in the right order and puts the car up as close as he dares to the victory podium here at Daytona International Speedway. A great job by one and all, a nice drive by everybody concerned. Another one of our class winners, the 51 machine, Robert Hodes. 4 classes of cars, Trophy of Pirelli AM. The AM class winner, Robert Hodes, in the 51 machine, now makes his way toward the podium as well. All right, we'll watch the race leader get the car turned around. A very nicely executed three-point turn. The number 9 car at one point, going into the last lap, I believe the Alfred Kayla was leading the class in the Ferrari of Long Island, number 9 machine. And we'll get another peek at it. The 9 and 10 cars coming together, I believe, on the racetrack. That's Murray Rothlander in the Ferrari of Vancouver machine. Oh, this. If there was a little contact, perhaps the 9 car spun and got collected by the 10. However, in being collected, the 10 car with some pretty substantial suspension damage, got the car back out onto the racetrack, and I would imagine he'd drive about 4 feet and go, "This isn't right." The car steering itself, one of the rear wheels has decided to go the wrong way. So that's what happened there. There were a couple of cars come together in turn number 3. As or turn number 5 rather, as the twistier piece of the race cars got a little bit too narrow for 2 of our Ferraris, and unfortunately ended the race on the last lap for both of them. But it is motor car racing. From time to time, those sort of things happen. But the bottom line is, as is always the case with Ferrari Challenge, the cars are fast, the cars are safe. Everybody got on the cars, and I would imagine they may have some words, and they'll express their condolences. And hey, we'll get together and do it again in Texas in just a couple weeks' time. The overall results: Peter Ludwig, Cooper McNeil, James Weiland, and the number 18 is Joseph Rubos, number 28, and we've got the Weinberger, number 6, rounding out the top 5. The bottom half of the first piece of our field. A great race by Robert Hodes, the class winner, with the number 31, and Chris Canazzi. Further down the list, we catch up to the class leader, the Katekis, the number 155 machine, 21st overall for Miller Motor Cars. That's the Copichelle AM class leader. And a really very nice race for them, and of course a good weekend for all involved. The balance of the field will make sure everybody gets a pat on the back, including the Paradise Arroyo, the number 190 car, which unfortunately didn't start the race after having an incident on the warm-up lap. A tough way to start the day. However, the point standings at the end of this, we'll try to add them all up. I'm not sure how fast the guys with the monitor can put together these point standings. They're far better mathematicians than I am. At the end of the day's racing, including yesterday and today's, Cooper McNeil is going to hold on to his points lead. I have a feeling it may have to do with the poll. Cooper McNeil with 38 points. Peter Ludwig with the victory today, only 1 point away with 37. The next class, the Trophy of Pirelli AM class, Robert Hodes with a 2-point advantage over Dave Musial. Alfred Kiola with the number 9 car, which didn't finish today, still in the hunt with only 31 points, only 3 points behind the class leader at the end of the day's racing action, the end of the weekend's racing action. 2 races in total here at Daytona. As far as the Copichelle class cars, we've got Mark Fuller, Chris Carroll, the young Frenchman behind the wheel, is going to finish in second place, 2 points back, and a point behind him is Brian Kaminsky with a win yesterday as well. And as far as the balance of the field, we got the Copichelle AM class cars. Tom Tipple with a win today with a 4-point advantage, probably the biggest gap of anybody we've seen in the point standings. John McGrew is going to be some 4 points back with 29, and a point behind him is Dale Katekis. Dale with a real nice run today and should be happy with the weekend's festivities. All right, thanks everybody for coming out to join us today. It was another great race with some great races, 4 different classes. We had racing action and incidents happening until the last couple of minutes. It's a great race. Don't forget, IMSA.com is where you need to listen to it. This is the Ferrari Challenge, and of course the Ferrari Challenge setting the pace for the Rolex 24 coming up just after 2 today. It was a great weekend at Daytona International Speedway, and now we know, if we didn't before, why they call it the world center of speed. It was a great one for Ferrari Challenge, a great way to start the season one more time. Both races were amazing. Watching Cooper McNeil pass his dad and wave yesterday morning, it was wonderful. Take care. We'll talk to you at the track.